Hello everyone, we are back. This is my little sister.
Hello.
She is a dancer, so I thought I would bring her in and have her react to the dance practice for Jimin's solo track, since she will be more...
Of which I've never watched BTS.
Yes, she's never watched BTS, she doesn't know anything about them, but she knows dancing.
I can do that.
So this isn't a music video, it's just their dance practice. They basically do one final practice that they then release to the public right at the end.
Okay.
Just to like
Is
show
this
it
with
without
the music?
Yeah, so it's with the music, but without the camera effects and without the background and the sets and so on. So it's a little bit more focusing on the dance. There's 7 of them. This is a solo track, so it's just the main guy and a whole bunch of background dancers. Okay. You'll know him when you see him because he'll obviously be front the center most of the time. And I think he's the only one who's in a little bit of color.
Okay.
Let's do it. We can pause at any time if we need. Pause, yes, rewind, no.
That's really impressive. The coordination it takes to get yourself into the exact right place after being like in a group.
Especially such a large group, I assume.
Yeah.
Like the more people you add, obviously the more
like
you have...
those people on the edges, they need to go. They need to jump to get there. It takes so much coordination to do all of that.
I wonder how much practice they actually...
So it depends. Obviously, these are professional dancers, right?
So I think it's the lab, which they work for on another production as well. So it's one of the big companies.
So the one thing that obviously helps them is that they are a dance group in themselves, which means that they know how each person dances. When you're dancing with someone new, trying to find the energy to match pace and emotion and everything is much more difficult than if you've been dancing with, like I've been dancing with my friends for years, and we'll do a completely new choreography and you can just feel, especially if you have like a specific choreographer, you're like, nah, they definitely want this move on this beat.
Yeah.
So
it's probably harder for him coming into the group than it is for them doing their stuff around him. And I assume it must be really weird for him as well, because he's probably used to doing it with his 6 other guys, and they probably, because they've been together for 10 years, they probably draw off each other like you and your friends, where you're like, okay, I know how he's going to move, I know how he's going to move.
But the nice thing about that is that because he's a solo dancer, if he fucks up, then... then it doesn't really matter, because he can just go like, this is what it's supposed to be like.
He wouldn't know. They're such perfectionists, especially him. So he has a background in contemporary, which I think you can kind of tell in the setup of the song specifically.
But contemporary is very different to what they're doing now.
But that's how he was trained, so he tends to bring in at least little elements and like a little flair of it.
Yeah. But the waves are cool at the beginning. Okay.
That's my toe cracking in the background. Sorry. I would imagine, and obviously that's also practice again, but whenever they do like big pieces like this, I always wonder how all of these dancers don't just like run into each other when they switch places.
Yeah, no, so the movement, like the formations, turning, making sure that you land in the right space.
Especially because there's no marks. I know that at the beginning and when they do their music videos and so on, they'll have obviously tapes.
Yes, on the floor.
To make sure that...
I mean, we did a dance...
Not for everyone, but so you have like a middle point.
Yeah. We did a dance that there was like several people and there was so many different formations that we literally had a piece of paper and each person was a different colored dot and you had to follow where your dot went and you were like, as long as you know where your dot goes and everyone else knows where their dot goes, just end up there.
Yeah.
Without walking into someone.
I feel like we should definitely include her when I make hubby watch... So he won't be that involved in the BTS videos, but there's one that we mentioned when we watched this music video that I want to make him watch from a cinematography point of view.
Yes.
Because they did one music video where they basically did everything in one take. And I think it might be fun to have you on that as well, because they don't I don't think they have the dance
one
practice
take
for
is
that.
difficult.
But just because there's also they have the behind the scenes for that.
Yeah.
And they basically show, and I think that links back to what you just said, where also, like, you have 1 or 3 people in frame, and everybody else is, like, huddled behind the cameraman, and then they have to, like, pop in and out as required. And I can just imagine...
I mean, filming in different takes is already difficult, because you're filming from one angle, you're filming the exact same dance, you basically redid the whole dance from a different angle. You have to look like...
It was the
one thing. And... you basically have to get it perfect every time, because people, I don't know, like me, or in series...
there'll be one person who will notice.
I'm that person who is like, her hair was different in this frame compared to the other frame. And I'm the one person who's like, he was like slightly more left in this frame than he was in that frame.
Mistakes, because you obviously go off frame, you'll have like a break, you'll take off. I know that they had that on Lord of the Rings, funnily enough. They had to... throw an entire, take out because someone forgot to put their undercoat back under the jacket.
And then you have to do the whole thing again.
And then, especially when you're in a group, you're like, oh, I'm the one that messed up. And everybody has to do it again because of me.
Yeah, but I think if you know people this well, everyone's just like...
And I mean, it's a really professional
and it's normally, 2 or 3 people who you're just like, had to be you again. But yeah.
Let's go. The transitions that drive me mad. It's so impressive.
Because you don't even notice, and then they're in a different formation.
Yeah. So that in the music video is shot from above, and it's basically like a spiral. Okay, so there's a little bit of camera movement.
Yeah.
The more I watch these, the more I'm impressed with the background dancers more than the actual. Yeah. And I know that BTS are all fantastic dancers, anyways. But the background really carries.
So the one thing that I really like in dances, especially group dances, is when they're all wearing the same color. I don't know if it's just ADHD or... but I can't focus when everyone's wearing different colors. Like, if they say, okay, the theme is hip-hop, everyone's definition of hip-hop is different. And they all come... they might have 3-4 colors that you should match in, like orange, black, and red or something. But... having everyone wear different colors can be so distracting to the actual dance, whereas black, all the neutral colors, are really, really nice to watch. Because
especially from a viewer's point of view, because then you might have the situation as well where when it is a situation like this where you have a lead dancer and background dancers, where if you have one of the background dancers in a bright red, you might end up looking at him more than...
Yeah, but I can also imagine this on stage, where... if they wore black, the black kind of blends in. So all of the, almost whacking with their arms, you can only see their skin tone. And it's so, so mesmerizing to the eye, because you're not, at one point you, don't click that these are people. You're just seeing this,
you're just
motion,
seeing movement.
Which is really, really cool.
So in the music video, and I actually only picked that up when I watched it again after my breakdown, of course. They're on a concrete floor in a very lit up white background. Yeah. And all the background dancers are actually in a soft dark grey.
Yeah.
And then he's in black.
Yeah.
So it still seems like they're kind of jolling, but they're just different enough where he's very stark black and they're a little bit of a softer, darker grey, that they kind of still...
I really like neutral tones in dances, just in general. All the monotone grey, white, beiges kind of thing. Anything that has too much color.
I feel like now I need to go back into their performances and check if what colors the background dancers are in.
Because I feel like anything in too much color can just really distract me. Then I'm just looking at especially if they're wearing something shiny and it catches the light, which just would frustrate me.
Let's go. This bounce boggles my mind. Toby told me not to reverse, I'm not going to go back to it. Trying to look everywhere at once. Ah!
That's really impressive.
The run. We're gonna... Sorry, husband. Sorry, editor. We're gonna do it again. I can barely run in a straight line. And he's doing double takes on his feet.
Yeah, but
it's a bounce.
to do that in coordination with everybody else. Because
everyone has to be on the same running beat, right?
But not even the beat. Not even the beat. You have to run at the same distance every time as the people in front of you.
And they are all running at the same time.
So you're running at the same time, at the same distance, which is normally the most difficult, is because, like, okay, me as a dancer, I'm really tall. So if I'm dancing with someone else, I have to take so much smaller steps so that my space is in line. So you basically have to take the smallest dance member,
which is probably him, to be honest,
and go, or one of the ladies. But you have to go, what step size can we all do?
How many runs? I would really, and I know they don't do that like in the sketches and so on, they never tell us, but I wonder like how many takes, how many practices there were for this before we got like certain aspects of it just right. And what I know with their videos is always looking at the feet, because the feet are like 80% of the work.
I actually find the feet the easiest.
Although I guess this one isn't that. We'll show you some other ones where I think what's the most impressive, and you can please pop a comment below which choreographies I should have her react to next. Which ones are like the ones that are the most out there. Because when it's just the 7 of them, one of their main characteristics is the fact that they synchronize. Like everything moves at once, and it like, again, like you were saying, getting everyone to move the same and so on.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how are you like moving your feet, legs, arms in like different directions? 7 of you at the same time. And like I can freeze frame and everyone's hand is exactly at the same angle.
Yeah. So for me, feet was like never a problem. Because
I'm clumsy, so I think for me
the muscle memory happens so quickly with your legs. Your arms are so different because like, okay, on a daily basis, what your legs are doing is normally just this the whole day. They don't have it much more to use than walking and holding your body up. So that when you go to dancing, you have the muscle memory of your legs, and then you can kind of maintain that because your body's not really doing anything else. Whereas my arms, it's so much more difficult because you've muscle memoried all of this, and now you're going to go and you're going to wash the dishes and you're going to drive and you're going to do this and you're going to make food, that it's so much easier to use the coordination of your upper body all the way up, including your facial expressions.
I was going to say, that's the next thing, because you're so focused, and obviously like this being then in the music video and so on, where you're just like, I'm so focused on dancing, but I also have to have a certain like face while I do perform,
like,
right?
I think something like this, background dances, it's more difficult. Like if you're doing a solo contemporary dance, you can have like so much emotion in your face. But background dancers you can't, because you don't want to take away from like lead singer.
Just blank.
So, but your blank can't look like you're trying to remember something, because watching myself like do ballet, I'm just like, I look so like spastic. And doing like a background dance where you got to be like cool and straight faced the whole time, but you're also just like that's difficult.
Arms. What we're learning is arms and facial expressions.
Arms and facial expression. Yeah, your feet kind of just end up knowing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
I guess it's also probably the first thing you learn as well. Like you start with what your feet should be doing, and then you move up.
Yeah.
As to how are we going to reflect that in your upper body.
When
you can't just look like
when most people learn a dance, you go, okay, these are the steps, and now you're going to add in the arms. You don't go, okay, these are the arms, now you're going to add in the steps.
Yeah. Makes sense. You start with the steps, and then you start adding the body to go with it. I also love the layers. Like where you have some push up and down with the different dances. There's so much to it. Dancing is beautiful.
That's so cool.
My knees would not agree with dropping that quickly.
After a while, you just get used to the bruises.
You heard it here first. Although she is a whole lot younger than I am. Her knees haven't started hurting yet.
You know, like the death drop that everyone does, where they just like onto their back.
No.
They normally do it after like whacking, and then they. It's mainly done by like drag queens, and then they just like jazz split, but they just go.
Oh, that I've seen. Yeah.
And then they drop their backs on the floor. It looks like they're like jelly, like they kind of just break and they go.
There's some dancers when, like, they're really amazing. Like, their lead dancer, J-Hope.
Yeah.
We'll show you some of his stuff. I swear to God, he has no bones. Like, he looks liquid. Sometimes he moves and you're just like...
What?
And then in complete contrast, every now and then he'll do, like, something that's a little bit more, like, EDM and so on. And then he hits, like, every beat. And you're like, how do your joints... Do you have extra, like, joints and bones in your body?
Yeah. But this is a really powerful dance. Like, even this frame of... It just shows so much strength. I can't imagine what it feels like being in the middle. That must feel so cool.
Yeah.
It must give him so much energy for the show, which is probably what you want from background dancers. Is
you want them to feed you as well.
Because you can't always rely on the audience to feed you that energy. But if all of these dancers are bringing you this, like, power, like, you're standing in the middle and you're like, yo, I feel like a king right now.
Absolutely.
That must just
and then you also
keep hyping you up.
For the music video, and he does it a little bit here, a little less intense, but like looking over them at the camera. If that doesn't make you feel like a boss, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where everybody went, please don't drop him. And all the ladies were like, please let me be the person who's supporting his waist. Can shift those hands down slight, little bit. And that was the part where I was like, the timing as well of the dancers at the back.
Yeah.
To like get out of his way when he drops.
Yeah.
Because otherwise ankles, gone.
No, but even being able to drop him and fall at the same time as everyone else is also really impressive.
So what we're learning is the background dancers are really doing 80% of the work.
I really like the
choreography.
Just because it's almost like tribal in a sense, which is very like strong movements, and the whole wave thing in the beginning with the hands, and I really like the most simplistic parts of the dance, like the end of like the crawling, and it's just so almost creepy in a way.
Yeah, that's what I said in the first reaction as well. Even the wave at the beginning in the music video, you don't see it as much here. Because there's like a choir in the back and the choir is like nearly screaming.
Yeah.
And at the same time the dancers are like shaking their hands and you can see them screaming
it's
as well.
Very,
so
like,
put the facial expressions
airy.
in. Yeah.
Just
a bit dark and gloomy.
I love it. I like the crawling and the very down to earth stuff. So which is very confusing because I do ballet, which is the complete opposite. It's very light and floating. Where when I do contemporary, I really like just like feeling the power of your own body and like what it's able to do, and something that like you don't need to be a dancer to like crawl up to a person, which brings it back to being like very human, which I really, really enjoy.
And I mean the song is the entire like thing is about him leaving the haters and the past, especially because this is going to be on a solo album, and he's had a lot of criticism for the way he looks in particular, and you know the brand of idols he falls into of there's only so much you can do and you can't really step out of your little box that you're in.
Yeah.
And then the whole song is about him basically saying, I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
And y'all are gonna have to deal. And it is reflected in the choreo. I mean, if you see everybody, like, especially at the end, I think, when everybody like, kind of crawls over him and then he gets lifted out from under that.
No, definitely.
If that's not a visual cue of what's being said.
Above all of you.
Yes.
Well, not necessarily above, just like...
And the fact that they lift him up as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also like, you were the ones like holding me down and now you lift me up.
Yeah. No, really, really impressive choreography.
Very cool.
And I've never watched BTS or...
So that's just Jimin. He's one of the... There are 4 in the dance line out of the 7. They all dance.
Okay.
But there's 4 that are like dancers.
Okay.
And then there's one lead dancer who is the top of the top, who learns the choreography first.
I mean, I can't imagine how hard it is to like sing and dance with that amount of energy, because to have that
so that's the crazy
energy
thing
the entire time.
And they've gotten a lot of shit for that as well, because people think that they lip sync during concerts.
Yes.
So they've proven multiple times in their concert where they'll literally like stop singing, and they basically, sometimes they'll have, in the really high energy songs, they'll have a backing track to catch if they miss a note or if they miss a word, it'll be there. But I think most artists now, they have a backing track anyways. Yeah. And of course, in the high energy songs, sometimes they'll also choose, like if there's a really high note and they don't think they have the capacity to hit it, they'll let the backing track take it. Very obviously, they'll just be like, I'm not doing it today.
Yeah.
But they do, you can hear it in their live performances that they do sing live. Obviously, they time it very well as well, where the main singer at the front will have smaller movements at that time.
Yeah.
And the rest,
I mean, you can even see in this, like...
when there's heavy singing, the movements will usually, like the choreo.
All of the people are just like doing this, and he's just in the middle going, yep, this is the part where I have to hit that really high note.
Yep. This is where I have to slow down, take a deep breath.
And then continue.
Yeah, but there's a lot of training going into it as well. They have released documentaries of behind the scenes where they basically like running on treadmills and singing at the same time.
I mean, I can't imagine that it took months to choreograph that. Normally you produce the song, that takes like majority of their time, and then you add the dancing in. If you're working with dancers who work with each other
and know what they're doing.
I mean, I went to a professional... this guy came from England and choreographed for the National Ballet. He just goes, okay, these are the steps, there's your choreography, go.
Yeah.
And that's, you just say, and you go, and you do.
And you repeat until it's muscle memory.
Yeah. But for them, it probably doesn't take long to be muscle memory. I mean, if you do like unset work, and you're just told on the spot, this is the movement, and you just have to do it. Your muscle memory has to be there from every prior dance that you've ever done, and just put it straight back into the first one. And
I mean, it is their job as well. So obviously there's like, they're familiar with, I assume, most moves.
Yeah.
And then obviously each choreography might have like one or two things that's a little different.
Yeah.
But you'll fall into it faster than someone who's learning to dance from scratch.
Yes, no, definitely. No, really, really impressive.
Then we shall
my first BTS experience.
Nice. The next one will be a proper BTS experience.
Okay.
We'll make sure it's a full-on all 7, and then you can tell me if you can pick out
the dancers.
Drop a comment below. Tell us which one we should make her watch. Which one do you think is the best example of BTS's dancing powers? And leave a comment, leave a like. Subscribe.
Press the subscribe button.
Yeah.
I don't know where there.
I don't know where Toby puts it. Somewhere on the screen will be a subscribe button. Hit it.
And then click on the previous videos that are here.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.